Hey everyone, Zephan Moses here, and in today's video we've got a tripod from Sure that I'm reviewing, and I have not reviewed a single tripod on this channel, so it must be a really good one and worth reviewing. Today I've got my notes on me. It's the SVS 75 Rapid System from Sure, and this only weighs 9 pounds. It's relatively light. It's a carbon fiber tripod. We'll talk about the differences between carbon fiber and aluminum in just a moment here, but the unique thing about this is it's a one-step height adjustment, which I'll show you momentarily. It's also pretty beefy and strong. It's made to hold a max payload of 55 pounds on the legs themselves, and of course the tripod head that came with it separately holds, I believe, a little bit less weight, but still you're going to be able to fit a really beefy camera on this thing. There's a mid-level spreader that we've got on this one, and we've got a central knob that we can rotate to adjust the spreader itself, and then we can of course adjust the legs and how wide out they spread if we want to get this guy really low to the ground as well. Tripods come usually in two flavors. One is aluminum and one is carbon fiber. The carbon fiber ones typically wind up being a little bit more expensive because, well, carbon fiber just happens to be more expensive, but the trade-off is that they're much lighter, and in my opinion, I think they're actually quite a bit tougher. So that's why I like to have carbon fiber tripods. I will also say that tripods are one of those things where you buy once, cry once. So I made the mistake when I first got started of picking up tripods that were really cheap, maybe a couple $100, and what happened was typically over time you find that whether it's the latching system of how the legs extend, that's just not convenient or annoying when you're on set, or being able to have this a level based on a bowl head versus one of those screw-on heads. So a bowl head makes it way easier to level. You've got a little knob here in the middle, you just tighten it or loosen it, and then you can move the entire bowl to level this out properly. I will also say that one of the other things that I've seen with tripods is how the actual plate mounts or latches into the tripod head itself. So something that I like about this one is there's a latch to unlock it, which allows the plate to slide forward and backwards, but it will not actually slide off of the tripod head itself. There's a little button here that you have to push down, and then the plate comes off at an angle. So you can take this off at about a 45-degree angle. And the reason why I like that is it makes it a lot easier to mount your cameras to the tripod. You're not sitting there at the back of the tripod trying to line things up properly, and then it always manages to get stuck. So I really feel like this is the way to go, is having that little unique safety lever there so that I can just clip this in, and I don't even have to actually push this down to lock it back in. So as you saw there, I can just put this side down and then it snaps itself right in. Now, it won't lock into place here, so it will slide back and forth. You still have to lock this latch into place to prevent it from sliding. So some features of this head, well, one, it came with 2 handles. That's really nice if you've got some zoom controls. So maybe those of you that have the Blackmagic cameras that have the zoom rockers, or if you've got a higher end camcorder that also has a zoom rocker that you want to relocate off the camera to one of these handles, they also extend. So if I just loosen up one of these, I can actually extend this pretty far down, and that's really convenient depending on if you are standing or seated while you're operating the camera. For those of you doing live events, you might be seated in a bar stool or a higher chair so that you can operate this throughout the day. Another thing that I like is this rapid system. So let me show you how this works. It almost looks like there's 2 things to spin on each leg, but you can actually spin both of them at once. So I'm going to loosen it up, unlock all 3 of these. And then once these are all unlocked, I can just either pull this up from the head, which I typically wouldn't do if I had a camera on here, or the handle is probably the easiest way to do this. And as I pull this up, you'll see the legs just extend on their own, and then all I have to do is twist and lock them back in. And that's pretty quick and easy. And now I've got it completely locked. Let me see how tall I can get this thing. And just for reference, I'm 6'2". So if this gets anywhere near that, then you'll know roughly how tall this goes. Okay, so with me standing up straight at 6'2", I am eye level with the tripod head. That is always a good sign, because if you're interviewing people that are tall, the last thing you want is for your camera to be down here and someone that's taller is looking down at the camera. So that to me is a huge plus and a huge benefit of a tripod like this. We've got some tension knobs here too as well. So you've got a tension knob for both your pan and your tilt. One thing I will say about the tilt, let me turn it this way so you can see it better. On the tilt side, some tripods, when you loosen up that tension, you can tilt it and you can lock it in and it'll just stay there. But when you loosen up the tension, it won't fall back the way this does. So this is a fluid head. It's balanced to come back to center. If I adjust this knob, which is the tension on the tilt, it's going to be either looser like this, right? And it moves a lot easier and freer, right? And it flings back. Or if I tension down, hey, breaking in real quick, just one gripe that I do have with this after I used it for a little bit, but I have to bring it to your attention, is see how the tension knob right here and the locking mechanism for tilt. So if it's unlocked right here, I can tilt it. If this is locked, then it stays locked where it's at. See how they're so close together right there? The only gripe that I have is that sometimes when I'm filming a bigger event and I'm following someone on stage or around the room, I typically like to unlock this and then kind of keep a hand here and be ready to lock it at a moment's notice so I can lock it down and be good to go. But I just found that because of this knob sticking out really far, I'm not crazy about the positioning of this. So if you do that type of event work, it'll just take a little bit of practicing. Like it kind of gives you a thumb rest now, I guess, and then you can kind of like loosen it up this way. But just keep that in mind as far as a design choice. I think that's the only complaint that I've had with using this tripod. Now you'll see a lot more tension to move it, but it's going to make for really nice, smooth tilting and maneuvering when you've got a heavier camera on this. Just note that if I let it go up here, it is going to level itself out, which in many cases is nice and convenient. It helps you get some of those smooth moves, but just take note of that, because if you're trying to lock it in here, you will have to actually lock it down if you want it to stay in that position. Same thing goes for the panning as well. The panning is really nice and smooth, and that's something that you want to have on a fluid head tripod. There is a panning adjustment as well right here, so you can tension up or down. You just twist this, and now my panning is really nice and loose, super easy. And if I tension up, then it's a lot harder to move the tripod head, which if I want to just lock this in place and only use my tilt, I can lock that pan in, and then I just have my tilt. So I just want to say from first experience, I would say built tough. This is definitely made to be beaten up to last. I like that it's got the little Allen wrench in there that's tucked away with the magnet. I just want to make sure that doesn't come out when I'm on the road and moving around. I like that the legs are adjustable, so I can actually take these and loosen all these latches up. And then if I loosen up our mid-level spreader, we'll have to unlock this guy. So if I loosen that up, I can actually take my legs, and if I want to, I could even remove the spreader. This is gonna make it easier. And then this leg is totally free to move, and that allows you to get that closer to the ground shot if you need to. And then you just got a little latch to lock it in place, bring it back down again, and lock it in. So super convenient. I like the way it's built. I think this is something that is made to last. It's almost one of those things where like I'm afraid to get it scratched because it is so pretty. I love the blue that goes with my brand. I usually have a lot of blue stuff on my gigs with me. This mid-level spreader, pretty easy to adjust and take off. So why do you have one of these spreaders? Well, it just helps to keep the legs all together, so it gives you additional stability, especially when you've got a heavier weight camera on your tripod. What's nice about these is the latch is super easy to use. So there's just like a little nub here that you push in, and it releases this hook, and it hooks right into the legs just like so. So there's one, you can see how quickly that went on. And then two, we just have to make sure this is loosened up and easy to move around. There goes two. And our last one, this might be the tougher one just because this is at an angle here. Let's loosen this up, hit our nub. Yep, and that's in. And then we can just lock this down. So each of these have an adjustment to lock them down, like so. And then as well as the middle has a lock as well right here. And then let's see, let's go ahead and loosen up all of these. And now it goes down really, really low to the floor. So it's actually, like if I unlatch this whole thing, I can put this down almost perfectly flat on the floor. For anyone wondering, as far as the feet go, if you want these metal points, if you're taking this out somewhere on an adventure into the woods somewhere, and you just want some additional support with getting this to stick into the ground, they are hidden here right below the feet. So you can add these feet if you are on flat ground, and you can use these if you are not on flat ground. Let's talk about price real quick because tripods can get very expensive, and to be honest with you, this is actually on the cheaper side of tripods. Some of the more expensive ones, you're probably gonna spend about $3,000 to $4,000. This is coming in way less than that, about less than half of that. Now, I wanna say for those watching my YouTube channel, I know that some of you are concerned with price. You wanna get the cheapest price on something. I will say that this is a buy once, cry once purchase. So once you buy it, you are going to have this for the next 10, 15, 20 years, as long as you take care of it. The biggest thing that I would say wears down on these is just the teeth on the handles themselves. So as long as you loosen it up all the way before adjusting the handle and you don't let those teeth grind before you lock in that adjustment, then this is going to last for a very, very long time. My final thoughts on this: having this side loading tripod head where I can unlock it here and then push this tab down, and then it's kind of like a quick release. Man, that is super. I love that on this tripod. I will say that the panning is pretty nice and smooth. You've just got a few adjustments to make to get it exactly where you want it. Me personally, I like that it's got the tilt where it's going to come back to center, because for me, that's going to help me in creating a nice even movement if I'm moving during a live shot. As far as the legs go, I will say that over time, as I used them and the tripod warmed up from being in my car, they became much more pliable and easier to use. So at first, when I first opened up the legs, they didn't totally all shoot out evenly the right way, but as soon as I was using it for a few more minutes, I found that they were much easier to use. So these legs, really, really nice, sturdy construction, and to be able to just loosen this up with just the twist of a knob and adjust this height wherever I want it. And then if we need it higher, just pull it up. You can see the legs came out much easier that time. So I just want to point out that this was probably something more on me than anything else. But I love the tripod. I think this is going to be on all of my live streams from here on out. I've got some older Manfrotto tripods that I would love to retire, so this will be replacing them from Sirui. The links to this tripod and the head are down below in the description to this video. And if you purchase it there, it not only goes to support Sirui, a great company that's making awesome gear. You can see I've got a few other videos with their products, but also it goes to help the channel. So thank you so much for your continued support, and I will see you very soon.